Members, if we could take our seats.
I'm on the motorway for an hour. That's fine.
I mean, it is about us.
Thank you, everybody. If members could take their seats, and if the public could take their seats as well, please. And I will open this meeting of the Planning Committee for 7th of November 2017. Welcome all the members, councillors. Mayor Goff will be here very shortly. Welcome to Independent Māori Statutory Board members. Welcome to Local Board Chair Grant Gillen and members of the community and media. Members, we have got a solid agenda ahead of us for today. And we will begin by taking apologies. They've already been received here and are on the screen. So I'll move the acceptance of those apologies, and that's Councillor Collins and Sayers for lateness, and Councillor Ross Clough and Penny Holston, Council Business, and Councillor Stewart for absence. Can I have a second, please? Thank you, Councillor Walker. All those in favour say aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried. Thank you. Members, are there any declarations of interest on any items on the agenda today? There being none, I will go to confirmation of the minutes, and I'll confirm the minutes. Confirm the minutes of the ordinary minutes. There was no excluded section. Just checking. For 10 October. Do I have a second? Yep. Councillor Simpson, thank you. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried. There being no petitions, we'll move past 4. Then we go to public input. Members, I've received, actually it's 9 requests for public input. I've accepted public input from a community member who would like to speak to the inclusion of 6 Herne Bay Road in the Herne Bay Historic Heritage Area, and we'll be hearing from her very soon. Members, there were, as of early this morning, 7, now there's 8 people wanting to speak for or against item 11, which is the change of use at 40 Anzac Street. Members, I have declined whether they be wanting to speak for or against. This has actually gone through quite a lengthy special consultative procedure, and which received some 2,000 submissions, and how many attended? 23 or 28 attended a hearing. So people have had the opportunity to attend a hearing. So I just want to assure you that this has gone through quite an exhaustive and open process, and the staff will refer to why it went through a special consultative process when we come to the item. Now, have I just covered everything? Ah, yes, and there were 2 requests. They didn't all relate to that particular topic, members. There was a request from a community member who wanted to speak about facilities improvement at Matakana, and that is being addressed by the local board, so it's been addressed to the local board, or we've directed that community member to the local board. And another community member wanted to speak about philanthropy to fund projects in the 10-year budget. And that is a matter not of this committee, it is a matter for the Finance Committee, so it's been referred to Councillor Ross Clough, the Chair of Finance. Good. Good? Did you say? Thank you. Okay, so we'll now go to the next item on the agenda, which is local board input. Oh, sorry. Shortchanging you, Marion. Marion, welcome. Please come on up. And Marion, you would like to speak to a matter which is on the open and the closed agenda members. So just keeping in mind, members, that we can't refer to the closed agenda, any of that content, in any possible questions that you might like to put. But Marion, thank you for coming along and advocating for 6 Herne Bay Road.
Good morning, Chairman Darby. Is that working okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good morning, Chairman Darby, councillors, local board members if present and members of the public. I'm Marion Kohler speaking on behalf of the owner of number 6 and the significant majority of other owners in the Herne Bay Road Historic Heritage Area who request that Council change the classification of number 6 on the AUP map from non-contributing back to contributing status, please. We're grateful for the opportunity to put our proposal before the Planning Committee, as we believe it is very important to the future of this HHA. The fact that the change relates to one house only is deceptive, as it affects the whole group of 33 properties united by heritage protection. Our request has been ongoing for about 1 year now, having arisen because of the lack of opportunity for objection in the PAUP process. It's more of a request for a reversion to the status quo under the Legacy District Plan rather than the initiation of a new plan change. We weren't expecting that it would be put in the confidential section of the agenda, so we reserve our rights on account of that factor. Some points that we want to highlight from our proposal, which I think you received last Friday, are that the owner of the subject house and the majority of other owners value the heritage protection accorded to the street in the AUP. They support number 6 being classified as contributing and do not want the overall integrity of the HHA threatened by the possibility of a new house being built on this site, which is located very close to the main portal at Jervois Road. They consider that a new house here would cause serious adverse effects to the HHA group as a whole. It is the collective grouping of historic houses in the HHA which has paramount importance over isolating one house from the group because of some comparatively minor detail. Focusing on individual details is suited to the more rigorous assessment of a historic heritage place, but not a house which is scheduled as part of a group, not on its own individual importance. This house sits well within its context and is part of the historical progression up the street. Up until now, the only feature cited by Council as the basis of its non-contributing classification was the upper roof line, which we are advised could be easily modified. The problem is that the new planning mechanism for HHAs introduced by the AUP, namely the non-contributing classification, has an unfortunate side effect in that it can be a bit of a blunt instrument which turns into a wrecking ball when combined with the demolition enabling provisions in the HH overlay rules for non-contributing sites. Two opposing illustrations of the non-contributing site mechanism are firstly, number 1 Albany Road, which is a classic example of a modern house that does not contribute to and detracts from the context of historic houses in this street, but it's classified as contributing just in order to protect one pre-1944 outbuilding to the rear of the site, which can't be seen from the street. Secondly, number 6 Herne Bay Road, which is a genuine 1924 dwelling house, albeit with some 1980 second-storey alterations, has been classified as non-contributing, opening up potential replacement by a modern house which will never be contributing. Both of these houses, with opposing classifications, are located in close proximity to portals at Jervois Road. Yet number 6, a dwelling from the relevant historic period, has not been afforded the benefit of a classification taking wider heritage purposes into account in order to protect the whole group. This approach appears as inconsistent. Embedded in the AUP, there is an inconsistency in the discrepancy between the non-contributing status on the HA map and the scheduled statement of significance for this HHA, which refers specifically to this house as one of the 4 later houses at the top of the west side, showing an historical progression up the road and being important in maintaining the quality of the road's portal at Jervois Road. The statement sets out the general and specific values of the HHA and should be given precedence. The change to contributing status, which we seek, applies to one reference on one map in the AUP to one property only. It has zero effect on any other provisions in the AUP. It does not introduce any new objective or policy, nor does it have any consequential effects on any existing objective or policy in the AUP. It would, however, carry out the existing stated objectives of conserving and protecting HHAs, including protection from inappropriate development. It would assist in future council management of the HHA by removing any ambiguity in interpretation, uncertainty of application and inconsistent administration. Conservation and protection of historic heritage is a matter of national importance. Auckland Council should safeguard its HHAs, including conservation and protection from inappropriate development. Please consider our proposal on its wider grounds, as well as being a request from the majority of owners in the HHA. I understand we have support from the Waitemata Local Board and also the Herne Bay Residents Association, I believe. Thank you very much for your time. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Marion. Questions of Marion, Deputy Mayor?
Just want to be very sure I'm clear here, Marion. The current owner of the property is in favour of this classification, and are they the occupier of the home?
They are the occupier, and they have signed a form which is part of the proposal which you have a copy of.
Thank you.
All the signatures of the owners are with that proposal, including the first one that appears is the signature of the owner of number 6. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions, members? Well, thank you, Marion. That's very clear, and thanks for your constructive contribution there. Ward Councillor Mike Lee, would you like to move acknowledgement?
Thank you. Is it?
It's up there for you. Would you like to move?
I would move accordingly.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. And thank you, Marion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Declare that carried.